Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Contemplation, brought to you by Spotlight Recovery. As I'd said, it is now a podcast in the works, shall we say. So thank you for joining us. We've got a great reflection today. I just titled it from that opening quote, and love is a great beautifier. So yes, it is cutesy, it is hippie, it is mushy, and I love it, and I'm totally in the mood for it today. So that's why I picked it. So I'll throw it up on the screen here and let's get into it. I keep forgetting to mention too, so if you're just listening to this on audio and or on YouTube, any of the descriptions, I've got a link to all of these reflections so you can read them yourself. They're pictures, you can save them to your phone. So be sure to always check that out as well if you're more of a visual person. So anyway, here we go. May 3rd, Love is a Great Beautifier by Louisa May Alcott. Meeting life head on with a smile attracts us to people and situations. Our attitudes shape our world, which is not to deny that problems do occur. However, problems can be viewed as special opportunities for personal growth, as gifts, more or less, that we are ready to receive. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. The stumbling blocks we encounter push us beyond our present awareness. They teach us that we are stronger and more creative than we'd thought. Problem solving is esteem building. Negatively confronting the day is sure to complicate any experiences. A simple misunderstanding can be exaggerated into a grave situation, requiring the energy of many people to handle it. On the other hand, a patient, trusting, loving attitude can turn a grave situation into a positive learning experience for all affected. We can beautify the day by smiling at it and throughout all the experiences it offers us. The expression of love to everyone we meet guarantees to make us more lovable in return. How great is my influence today? I can go forth feeling love if I choose to, guaranteeing an enjoyable day for me and everyone I meet. This inspiration is from Each Day a New Beginning. So, yeah, it's a cute one. I do think there's a couple great points in this and a couple great perspectives in it, like some things that I really enjoy. I really understand how some of it can come across as like toxic positivity, and just kind of overdoing it a little bit. So take it all with a grain of salt, take it for what you will, but please don't let that get in the way from the really good messaging in here. Okay. So let's start with this first paragraph here. The second line in this first paragraph, our attitudes shape our world, which is not to deny that problems do occur. I really like this line and this messaging. I think we literally were talking about this in yesterday's episode. If not, it's a very recent one. Just talking about the line from one of my favorite TED Talks of there's no world, there's just 6 billion interpretations of it. And since we have a disease of perception, right, the addiction's a disease of perception, so much of that work we do, be it therapeutically, be it step work, a lot of it is focused on perception change and shift. And so then back with this line of our attitudes shape our world, well, it's the more work you do on that perspective change and on yourself, the better your world can be. Like in so many ways, I can't express this enough, and it's so hard to put into words, but I truly believe that we have so much ability to really shape our world and create it the way that we want. or a part of that being, it can be as good or as bad as we choose to make it. You know, if we choose for it to be happy or positive or not, or negative and overbearing and whatever it may be. So obviously there's a lot up for debate here. And so take it all with a grain of salt, because life also does happen on its own terms. And there are so many things that are out of our control. But in general, for me and through my recovery, I've been able to find so much freedom through this process, through giving up drugs, and then doing this continued work therapeutically. It's become so much more than just trying to stay sober every day now, and instead building the best life that I can out of this. You know, like giving up addiction was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It's the most work I've ever had to do in something in my life. So therefore, if that's what it's going to take, then I'm not going to settle for some mediocre life where I am just abstaining and then going through the motions every day. Like, fuck that. If I'm going to have to do all of this work and give up something that seemingly was the most important thing in my life, then you give me everything else. Give me the best life I can possibly get out of this deal. So that's my ambitious attitude towards it. That's my perspective on it. And I'm holding true to it, and it's paying off. So I'll say that much. So anyway, just around this concept of our attitude shaping our world, I find as we get free from our addiction, as that fog lifts out of our disease, and we're able to start seeing the world more clearly and for what it is, and doing this work on ourselves and see ourselves for who we really are, is then when we unlock all this potential to be able to be making change. Like in addiction, as things get worse and progress for a lot of us, we just keep losing the power of choice and the ability to make decisions and change our actions and our perspectives the way that we want, because everything keeps getting more and more focused on how do I get the next fix? How do I get the next fix? So as we come out of that and out of that life and push all of that aside and move forward into a new life in recovery, is where we regain all this potential and ability to do all of these things and to make all of these changes. It's so powerful and it's so incredible. And originally in recovery, I just thought I was coming in to learn how to moderate, not even how to quit. I was just like, they're just going to teach me how to be one of those weirdos that like only drinks and smokes after work and like maybe parties on the week, like one day a weekend, and then that's it. I didn't, this wasn't what I was planning on signing up for, let alone then this level of life and perspective change and personal growth. So it's really been absolutely spectacular. So I can't say it enough, suggest it enough. Like it's really been a trip. It's really been a trip. So I really like that they talk about that in this first paragraph in the reflection, because I believe it and it's come true for me. And even still right after that, they say that line, our attitudes shape our world, which is not to deny that problems do occur, right? So everything's not all sunshine and rainbows and shit. Problems can be viewed as special opportunities for personal growth and all of this stuff. Like, this is some big, hard perspective to get to. It took me a lot of work and a lot of years to be able to understand these perspectives, but they've really rang true for me. As gifts, problems can be viewed as special opportunities for personal growth, as gifts, more or less, that we are ready to receive. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. So in this case, potentially the problem, whatever the issue may be in life. The stumbling blocks we encounter push us beyond our present awareness. They teach us that we are stronger and more creative than we'd thought. Problem solving is esteem building. That's another great line to end on too with that one. A lot of us who struggle with addiction at some point, sooner or later, struggle with low confidence, low self-esteem. So taking this perspective and then doing this work as an approach, I love that they mention that is esteem building, because that's such a great tool to be able to use to help build that esteem back, right? Not inflate the ego, genuinely build your real self-esteem through doing this meaningful work on yourself. So I love that they talk about that, because I mean, depending on the day, like, who wants to have problems and who wants life to not go their way, and who wants to have to make progress and change and growth every day, or not being able to stay stagnant once in a while and just take a break. I think that's a big one for a lot of us too. I know it is for me, because cannabis was my main drug of choice, and that can easily make you real lazy. And, life doesn't allow for a lot of homeostasis, a lot of even keel. Life is constantly moving, changing, evolving, progressing. It's going to do what it's going to do. And then now that we're in recovery, we are given the choice and the opportunity of Do we choose to continue to grow with it and progress with it, fall back, and then fall back and let it all just overwhelm us and run us over, which is usually like then when we can just run back into addiction, or try to stay stagnant against it, which really is then we're just fighting it, actually. Because if life's not going that way, you can't just then choose to opt out and sit on the couch and not do anything. That's just kind of like oh, come on. The tiger from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where it's just like covers his eyes and it's just like, okay, if I can't see you, you can't see me. Like, no, that's not how that works. So life's just gonna not stop changing and progressing because you're just attempting to opt out or choosing to opt out. You're just choosing to fight instead. Anyway, there was a bit of a ramble. So I just back with these points. I really like them. They're big thinkies, and they're like I said, for me, they took a lot of work to be able to get here, and having that perspective and being able to look at things this way has really given me a lot of freedom, and it really helps me build myself into the man that I want to be. And that was such another big contributor to my addiction, was I knew I could do better. I knew I could be better, but I wasn't. And so I would just then get high over it as a result, just hating who I was, who I had become, or who I wasn't becoming. And that was killing me. This is now a direct road and path to then be that man that I want to be, that I know I'm capable of and can be. Oh, man, what a gift. What an absolute gift. So, second paragraph now talks about the flip side. Negatively confronting the day is sure to complicate any experiences. So I just love that they talk about this and just how if you're bringing in that negative attitude, that negative perspective, well, you're just choosing to make things worse. You really are. You're just choosing to make things harder and more difficult and negative and suffering and all of that stuff. Like it just, I've come to believe this very much. And through my addiction and even earlier time in recovery, this wasn't something that I could fully relate to or understand. Couldn't get my head around it. And it's something else that I've found to just be so true and so in our power. It's just what perspective do we bring to everyday life and to a certain situation? Again, we're talking about that disease of perception. So it's also really easy to believe, oh, that's not true, Lucas, you're full of shit. You don't understand what my life looks like because of all these negative, hard things that have happened. But again, if you're thinking at it or coming at it from this addict space, like you're in disease, or this is your disease. I'm convinced this is your disease telling you that this is the case, right? Because I have a brain that's trying to kill me, and it will if I let it. So therefore, my addict brain is doing whatever it can, tell me whatever story it can to get me to give up, to say it's impossible, it's too much, what's the fucking point, all of that stuff, and just give up, right? So don't let your disease convince you of this, and don't let it tell you these things, and just make this your truth and make this your reality. Okay? So what else are they saying here? Oh yeah, so then just the contributions of coming in with this negative attitude towards life in a situation, just how it contributes to making things worse. I love that they talk about that. A misunderstanding can be exaggerated into a grave situation. I love this, requiring the energy of many people to handle it. Oh my God. Yeah, this is me so much. Whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, everybody's feeling it. I'm a big man with a big personality. I got a lot of energy. Like my aura just fills up a whole room. One of my classmates said that to me once, and I was like, wow, that is such an accurate way to say that. That's just who I am. That's how I'm built. That's the cloth I'm cut from. There we go. So if I'm having that positivity and those good vibes and good energy, that's pouring throughout the room. If I'm having a bad day or I'm in a negative space, that exact same is happening. exact same things happening. And then no matter what the situation is, it's probably going to take more than just me or the other people who are directly involved in it to try to clean up the mess. I have, oh God, shown this time and time again. I hate it. It sucks. To all those listening who I have done this with before, I am so sorry. These are amends I am constantly trying and having to make daily and pay forward in my life because I can't catch them up and make them all. But I've done that very much and brought in other people to then have to clean up the mess just because I am choosing to have a negative perspective or approach. I am choosing to make things harder. I am choosing to not do the work that's required of me or work on myself to make the change for the better. On the other hand, a patient, trusting, loving attitude can turn a grave situation into a positive learning experience for all affected. Now, of course, like nothing, what a great line. Nothing is absolute. So take this with a grain of salt, but just in general, talking about this perspective shift to then being able to change our attitudes and the situations we're in, which then ultimately is what shapes our world. So I really like this perspective and the fact that they're bringing it back to in comparison to the negative side and then tying it all up here in the third paragraph on the finishing quote. So this third piece, now this is where it gets really hippie and a little strong. But again, just in general, even if you take what you want out of this, just this perspectives of, choosing to smile, that's a really cool one. Feel free to do a little research on just the proven effects of how smiling just literally like releases more happy chemicals in our brain. Like just physically doing that is then what can help alter that brain chemistry, and how the fact that it takes so many more muscles, so many more less muscles actually to smile than it does to frown. Like it takes more effort to choose to be upset over something as opposed to then choosing to be happy, less physical effort, resulting in a like brain chemical change. It's really, really cool. Anyway, so just having that perspective of choosing to smile, like it says, smile at the day and experience that it offers you. The expression of love to everyone we meet guarantees to make us more lovable in return. So, you know what? I've actually got an amazing story out of this recently from a work experience, which is just, I learned so much from this. I guess relearned it, and it was just amazing to hear about. So I have a colleague, another counselor, and they'd had a client who relapsed and was threatening to get very violent with them. Lost it, screaming at them, trying to fight them, getting in their face, everything, calling them every name under the sun. And all the counselor did in response, he put his hands behind his back and he said, "I love you." And that was it. And they kept yell, 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 "I love you." "Yeah, you're this, you're that." "I am. I love you." Never fought. De-escalated the guy. It oh my God. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. It was one of the most powerful things I have heard recently. It was just so cool and so good. So it's amazing actually reading this and just having that direct experience from it recently to share with you, because that was just so cool. So just in general, obviously that's a very extreme response. So then even, not quite as intense of a response as that, just that general mindset of you get what you give, right? So putting that positivity out in the world allows more positivity to come back to you. Putting that love more out in the world, which this poor planet desperately needs right now, allows for more love to come back your way as well. It's same from that Marianne Williamson quote of liberating yourself allows others to liberate themselves. So it's that same kind of idea. Putting that love out there then shows other people that it's safe and okay to then do the same thing back. So it really carries, all of this stuff carries so much power than I can possibly put into words. So if you're skeptical, please try it. I was too. I know, I get it. You'll be amazed at how much these changes can really make for you and in your life. It's really amazing stuff. Oh, woo! Oh man, I'm going to finish up on that. That is great. That is getting me all fired up. Oh man, I really hope that this reflection stood out for you today as well. Please throw down in the comments what stands out for you, what you liked out of this reflection. What have your experiences been with everything we were talking about today on taking that positive or negative attitude in your day? And then what are the changes that occurred? How has that affected your life and shaped your reality? Would love to hear those comments, so please throw them down there. Whatever platform you're on, some form of subscribe, follow, share, all of these things, they really help us. I want to make sure you're not missing an episode if you're enjoying this content, and it helps us grow so we can carry the message to other recovering people. Okay. Also in that description are a bunch of ways that Spotlight Recovery can support you and ways you can support Spotlight Recovery. So please go check all those out for other recovery coaching videos, podcasts, blog, newsletter, and then donating, becoming a member, or getting yourself some merch to support us too. Where did that go? Anyway, and then last is I do private recovery coaching with folks. So if you want some more work and help around what we've talked about today and all of these topics, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to chat with you and see if there's a way that I can help you in your recovery with all these topics too, okay? I'd be happy to do it. So please reach out. Contact info's in that description too. And there we go. So have a blessed 24 today. Thank you for checking out this episode of Coffee and Contemplation, and we'll see you again tomorrow.